Beyond the mask, embracing your true nature through Sufi archetypes, Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to Sufi Essence. In our daily lives, we wear many masks. We put on a mask for our job, another for our family, and yet another for our friends. These masks are the personas we create to navigate the world, to feel safe, and to be accepted. But beneath all these layers, a deeper question haunts the soul. Who am I really? We sense that our true nature lies hidden, buried beneath the weight of expectations, fears, and worldly attachments. But how do we find it? How do we tear off the masks and embrace the authentic self that Allah created us to be? Today, we will embark on a profound journey into the spiritual psychology of Sufism. We will explore the idea of Sufi archetypes, divine templates of spiritual growth that serve as a map to our true nature. We will move beyond the superficial masks of our ego and delve into the deeper metaphysical and psychological dimensions of the self. Drawing from the timeless wisdom of spiritual giants like Imam Ghazali, Rumi, Attar, and Ibn Arabi, we will discover that this journey is not just a quest for self-knowledge, but a path to knowing Allah. This is a lecture on how to find the I that lies at the heart of our being, a journey to a life of profound authenticity and spiritual freedom. Part 1. The Sufi Archetypes, a metaphysical map. Before we can begin to explore these archetypes, we must first understand what a Sufi archetype is. In the Western psychological tradition, a figure like Carl Jung spoke of archetypes as universal, inherited ideas that form the basis of our personality and psyche. In the Sufi tradition, the concept is far more profound. Sufi archetypes are not just psychological patterns. They are metaphysical maps of the soul's journey back to its divine origin. They represent the stages of spiritual purification and illumination, each one a station on the path to realizing our true divine nature. The Sufi perspective holds that our soul, or Ra, is a reflection of the divine essence. Our human experience, however, has layered a series of masks over this essence. The mask of the ego, the mask of society, the mask of fear. The Sufi archetypes are like sacred blueprints, guiding us on a spiritual pilgrimage to peel back these layers, one by one. Each archetype is a living embodiment of a specific divine attribute, a quality of Allah that we must develop and perfect within ourselves. For the Sufi, the journey of self-discovery is the journey of discovering Allah. As the Prophet Piba said, "He who knows himself knows his Lord." These archetypes are the keys that unlock the doors of our inner world, revealing the divine reality that has been there all along. The beauty of this framework is its practical application. It helps us understand where we are on our spiritual path, what challenges we face, and what divine qualities we need to cultivate. It moves beyond abstract theology and provides a tangible, lived experience of spiritual growth. It is a science of the soul, a discipline for the heart, and a map for the journey of a lifetime. Part 2. The Mask of the Ego and the Science of the Self. Our first task is to understand the nature of the mask we wear. In modern psychology, this social mask is called the persona, a term derived from the Latin word for an actor's mask. It is the public face we present to the world, often designed to meet social expectations and gain acceptance. This concept finds a powerful parallel in the Sufi understanding of the nafs, or the ego self. The nafs is the part of us that is driven by desires, seeks validation, and is deeply attached to its own self-image. It is the primary mask we must learn to see through. From a provable scientific perspective, modern neuroscience and cognitive psychology are beginning to shed light on how this mask is formed. The default mode network in the brain, which is active when we are not focused on a task, is heavily involved in self-referential thought and the construction of our self-narrative. This is the neural basis of our ego, our constant inner monologue that tells us who we are based on our memories, experiences, and social interactions. This brain network reinforces the very mask we are trying to remove. Sufi practices such as meditation, muraqabah, and remembrance dhikr have a direct impact on this brain activity, calming the default mode network and allowing for moments of ego dissolution and a deeper sense of self beyond the mind's constant chatter. This is a scientific validation of the Sufi path. It is not just a spiritual belief, but a practical method for changing our brain and our perception of reality. The death of the ego is a psychological and neurological reality that can be achieved through spiritual discipline. Part 3. The archetype of the seeker Murid, and Ghazali's path. The first archetype on the spiritual journey is that of the seeker, the Murid. This is the stage where we first become aware of the masks we are wearing and feel a deep, undeniable thirst for something more. This is not just a fleeting interest, but a profound and painful spiritual longing that cannot be satisfied by worldly pursuits. Imam Ghazali, one of the greatest minds in Islamic history, is the perfect embodiment of this archetype. As a brilliant scholar and professor, he had all the worldly success one could desire: fame, status, wealth. Yet he was struck by a profound spiritual crisis. His knowledge felt hollow, his actions felt insincere, and he realized he was wearing a mask of piety and intellectualism. Ghazali's journey as a murid was one of immense courage. He left his prestigious position, abandoned his wealth, and embarked on a decade-long journey of solitude and self-purification. He sought to die to his worldly identity, to the mask of the famous professor, to find the truth he knew was hidden beneath. He realized that the true knowledge he sought was not in books, but in the experience of the heart. He wrote, "I saw that the Sufis were the people of the path of God, ... Their way was the only way to attain to a real knowledge of God." His experience proves that the journey of the seeker begins with a moment of profound honesty, the admission that all our masks are ultimately empty, and that our hearts are yearning for a reality that is beyond the tangible. This is the birth of the Murid, the one who has shed the mask of worldly contentment and is ready to begin the long, difficult, but ultimately liberating journey home. Part 4. The archetype of the lover Ashiq and Rumi's ecstasy. As the seeker begins their journey, they may transform into the next archetype, the lover, or the Ashiq. This is a higher station where the spiritual path is no longer a struggle of the will, but an ecstatic flight of the heart, fueled by divine love. The mask of the calculating rational seeker is replaced by the maskless face of pure devotion. The greatest embodiment of this archetype is the spiritual titan, Jalaluddin Rumi. Before his encounter with the mysterious Shams of Tabriz, Rumi was a respected scholar, a man of law and order. But the love that Shams ignited in his heart set his world ablaze, transforming him into a divine poet and a dancing dervish. Rumi's poetry is the language of the Ashiq. He saw love as the ultimate alchemy, the divine fire that burns away the ego and all its masks. He wrote, "The wound is the place where the light enters you, teaching us that our pain and brokenness are not flaws, but openings for divine love to enter and heal us." The lover is not afraid of this pain. In fact, they embrace it, for it is the sign that the old self is dying. The Ashiq no longer sees God as a distant deity to be feared, but as the beloved to be longed for. The practices of this archetype are not just prayers and remembrance, but poetry, music, and the whirling dance, all of which are forms of ecstatic worship that dissolve the boundary between the lover and the beloved. For the Ashiq, the masks of worldly identity have fallen away, and all that remains is a heart consumed by a singular, all-encompassing love for the divine. Part 5. The archetype of the Gnostic Arif in Ibn Arabi's Unity from the Station of the Lover. The seeker may progress to the archetype of the Gnostic, or the Arif. The Arif is one who has attained not just love, but a deep, direct, and experiential knowledge of Allah. They have moved beyond the veil of form and see the divine essence in all things. There is no greater master of this archetype than the great Sheikh al-Akbar, Ibn Arabi. His intricate and profound philosophy of Wadat, Wujud, or unity of being, is the very essence of the Gnostic's vision. For Ibn Arabi, the universe is not separate from Allah. Rather, it is a magnificent mirror reflecting the divine names and attributes. The Gnostic has seen through the mask of separateness and realizes that there is only one ultimate reality. This does not mean that the Gnostic claims to be Allah, but rather that the Gnostic sees that there is nothing other than Allah. This is the final death of the ego's mask of individuality. The Arif sees the divine in every face, hears the divine in every sound, and feels the divine in every breath. This is a state of constant living presence with Allah. Ibn Arabi wrote that the Arif is a person who has returned to the state of no state, a place beyond all concepts and forms where the mask of human identity has completely dissolved into the ocean of divine reality. This is not an intellectual concept. It is a profound spiritual experience that transforms one's entire perception of existence. Part 6. The archetype of the servant Ab and Attar's humility. The final and highest archetype is not that of the Gnostic, who remains in a state of mystical ecstasy, but the one who returns to the world as a humble servant, the ABD. The ABD is the one who has seen the face of Allah, experienced the unity of all being, and has come back to live in the world with a heart of perfect humility and service. The Journey of the Birds in Fuad al-Dinattar's epic, The Conference of the Birds, beautifully illustrates this archetype. After a long and perilous journey, the 30 birds finally reach the mountain of God, only to realize that the majestic king they sought was a reflection of their own collective being. Simurg means 30 birds in Persian. This is the station of Fana, annihilation of the self. But the journey is not over. The birds must then return to the world to live out their newfound reality. This is the station of Baka subsistence, the state of the ABD. The ABD is the ultimate embodiment of someone who has gone beyond the mask. They have no personal ego, no desire for fame or recognition. Their every action, every word, and every thought is a selfless act of service to Allah's creation. Their mask has been replaced by the face of humility, and their ego has been replaced by the heart of a servant. They are the living expression of Allah's mercy and love in the world, the final, perfect embodiment of someone who has truly embraced their true divine nature. Part 7. Conclusion and call to action. The journey through the Sufi archetypes is a profound and sacred map for the soul. It is a journey that begins with the uncomfortable awareness that we are wearing a mask. A journey that moves through the spiritual longing of the seeker, the ecstatic love of the lover, the profound wisdom of the Gnostic, and culminates in the ultimate humility of the servant. This is not a theoretical exercise, but a practical guide for every spiritual seeker. It invites us to ask ourselves, what mask am I wearing today? Am I the seeker, just beginning my journey? Am I the lover, consumed by divine passion? Am I the Gnostic, seeing the unity in all things? Or am I the servant, embodying the face of Allah's mercy in the world? This talk is a call to look beyond the masks we have created and to embrace our true divine nature. It is a call to begin the journey of spiritual discovery, to shed the false self, and to find the eternal reality that lies within. May Allah guide us all on this beautiful and sacred path. Watch, reflect, and share. Subscribe to our channel for more beneficial content.